So last week we began a two-part study called Salt and Light, found in Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. And we discussed being the salt of the earth and that we should look and act differently than the world does. And today we are continuing this series with the light portion. And so let's take a look again at this portion of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. In this passage we read, "You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father." Earlier this week, I took my family to a cabin down in Hocking Hills, and we just wanted to get away from the town for a couple of days, kind of get a change of scenery, and it was so refreshing. But something funny happened while we were there. The second night, we had put the kids to bed. Jen was ready to turn in for the night, and we had a pretty good campfire going. Out the back of our cabin, probably around 100 feet or so, was a really nice fire ring, surrounded by woods, pretty dense woods all around. Two pretty good hillsides came down from the right and the left, and then just woods as far as you could see in behind the cabin. And we had this really nice campfire going, and so I thought before I turn in for the night, I'm just going to go out there and just kind of relax, listen to the sounds of nature, and just kind of watch the fire die down. And so I was out there just enjoying myself, the privacy that I had there, and listening to the sounds around me. And every so often I wasn't sure if I heard a noise or not, but I thought I kind of heard something over my right shoulder, and so I'd turn and look and didn't see anything, and so I'd wait a little bit longer. Maybe I thought I'd heard something again, and I was kind of like, I wasn't sure if I was just hearing things in my mind or if there was actually something there. And a little bit later, I heard something again. I turned back to look. I thought maybe Jen had opened the door. Maybe she was coming out. Turned and looked, and again, nothing was there. And this went on and on for several times. And finally, I kind of just got frustrated. And I thought something was there. I wasn't sure. It was really dark there. Just had the glow of the fire in front of me. And so finally, I just stood up and turned around. And when I did, something that was significantly larger than a chipmunk or a squirrel took off and ran up that hill. And at that point, my heart was racing, and I didn't have a flashlight on me. And so I just grabbed out my phone and turned on my phone flashlight and shone it all over that hillside to see if I could see what it was. And to this day, I'm not sure what it was. But I can tell you this, I was very grateful to have a light with me. Because had I been stuck out there, out in the, surrounded by these woods, I did not know what was around me. I was feeling pretty comfortable and pretty safe until I heard this very large animal run off, and then I got a little bit nervous. And so light is a wonderful tool for us in the darkness. There are several Bible verses that refer to light. I'm going to take a look at a few of them and see what they have in common. We read in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2, "The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. For those who live in a land of deep darkness, a light will shine." We read in John chapter 8, verse 12, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." We read in Romans chapter 13, verses 12 and 13, "So let us put aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. Let us behave decently, as in the daytime, not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual immorality and debauchery, not in dissension and jealousy." In 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 5, "Therefore judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart." Ephesians chapter 5, verses 8 through 11. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light and find out what pleases the Lord. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Colossians chapter 1, verse 13. He has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves. And 1 John chapter 1, verse 5. This is the message we have heard from him and declare to you. God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. As we look at these passages collectively, we can easily see that light represents holiness, goodness, knowledge, wisdom, grace, and hope. All good things and all characteristics of God. Darkness, on the other hand, represents evil, sin, and despair, the opposite of godly characteristics. So what does all of that mean to us today? Well, I think there are three things we can take away from these passages. First, we see that God is the source of light. That passage in 1 John reminds us that God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. He is perfect, and he is the answer to sin. In the same way that light illuminates a dark room and reveals everything in it, God illuminates our lives. He uncovers every sin, every blemish, every shortcoming, every hidden dark thing. He is holy and perfect, and he is the answer. God is the source of light. The second thing that we can learn from this is that we must embrace the light. We must embrace these qualities of God and work to make them our own. If we are truly Jesus followers, then we will be doing our best to live a life that mimics the life of Jesus. I know that we aren't perfect, but are we trying to live holy lives? Do we strive to live lives of integrity, honesty, compassion, and love? There is something so freeing about living a life exposed by the light. There are no lies to cover up, no hidden agendas, no shady deals, no fear of getting caught. We should embrace the light and live our lives exposed out in the open. We should be people of integrity that have nothing to hide. And finally, we must reflect the light. If I'm honest with you, there are days that I wish I wasn't a pastor. You know, being a pastor puts you under a microscope. And sometimes I feel like I can't mess up, or someone will find out and they'll point out my mistakes, and then they'll follow that up by saying, and he calls himself a pastor. There are days that I wish I could just do whatever I wanted and not have to suffer any repercussions. But that mentality is just so selfish. You know, even if I wasn't a pastor, I'm still a Christian. And I am still a witness to the world around me in the way I conduct myself. I can't simply turn my Christian witness on and off when it's convenient. I'm always on. And whether you like it or not, you are always on. And so we must reflect the characteristics of God to the best of our abilities at all times. We are called to be the light of the world, to give direction and wisdom and knowledge and hope to a dark and confused world. We have the answer. Are we going to hide it under a bowl so that it serves no purpose? Or are we going to place it high on a stand so that it can shine out as much as possible? Let your light shine in the hopes that others will see your good deeds and praise our Heavenly Father. So recognize that God is the source of light, embrace the light, and reflect the light. Now, doesn't that just sound like a cute, refreshing little cliche? Shine your light for Jesus. That's an easy thing to say, but how do we practically do that? What does it mean in the real world? Well, I want to give you 4 practical things that you can begin working on today that might help you to shine. And so first of all, be careful what you say. James chapter 3 verse 8 calls the tongue a restless evil full of deadly poison. Yikes. That's pretty serious. And that's how we should take our speech. Seriously. Maybe a parent once told you, or maybe you have told your children, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. You know, that's not bad advice, even as an adult. Words are powerful and can be used for good or bad. And so let's check our language. And not just that handful of words that are considered bad words. Speak life and speak love and speak hope and speak grace. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 29 reminds us, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. So watch your tongue. The second thing is consider your entertainment. Where do you go for fun? What shows or movies do you watch? What kind of music do you listen to? Would you go to the same places or watch the same things or listen to the same music if Jesus were sitting next to you? Or would you be embarrassed? I know that might sound silly, but asking those questions is a good way to keep yourself in check, whether you're alone or with others. A third thing that we can do is to use social media wisely. Whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or something else, people are watching what you post, whether they interact with your posts or not. And so think about the things you've posted recently. Articles, comments, photos, and so on. Are your posts helping your Christian witness or hurting it? Could they be seen as prideful, self-centered, rude? And also, consider your motives. Are the things that you're posting, is it to put others down or to make them jealous? Hopefully not. And believe me when I say that every single day I have things that I want to say on social media, but I have to consider the cost. I'm constantly asking myself, will what I say bring people to Jesus or turn them away? And finally, think of others. Consider other people's needs and help to meet them. Encourage instead of criticize. And be patient. Give others the benefit of the doubt. If you hear gossip, distance yourself from it or take initiative and change the subject. When you encounter a difficult person, remember that they were made and are loved by God. You know, it's as simple as the golden rule found in Luke chapter 6, verse 31. Treat others the same way you want them to treat you. And so there are just 4 practical tips that you can begin putting into practice today in an effort to shine your light for Jesus. Friends, we have the awesome privilege to partner with Jesus Christ, to be His witnesses, and to play a part in sharing the good news with the world. We need to remember that people's eternities are on the line, and Satan doesn't take a day off. I hope and pray that these past 2 weeks have been an encouragement to you to be Christ's ambassadors. And as our society is opening up, let's remember this time of quarantine as a time when we rebooted and refocused, and let's get back out there and be salt and light. And may God use each one of us as His instrument to bring others into a saving relationship with Him. Now, go play your part.